Hey everyone, it's Olga and welcome to my channel. If you are hearing a cat purring, you are right indeed because there is a cat on my lap. Not anymore. Recently I came across like a dozen of videos titled I tried $1 billion morning routine. I love morning routines and I love to be active and productive. So I got pretty excited and decided to dig a little deeper to find out what it's all about. I attempted to recreate this morning routine and I have questions, you guys. But let's back up a little bit and I will go through everything step by step, sharing my opinion with you along the way. The very first step of $1 billion morning routine is to recall your dreams. I actually found this part quite fascinating. On a regular morning, I usually resort to mindless social media scrolling the moment I open my eyes, so it was great to challenge myself to skip this step and think of my dreams instead, even though it was ever so tempting to just reach out and grab my phone. I definitely can see how this step can be beneficial for one's mind, so thumbs up here from me. Speaking of dreams, I actually dreamt about having a balcony. We don't have one, which is a bummer, but I suppose it can be a goal of mine. The second step of this routine was to make the bed. I didn't do it. Ha, sorry. The reason being is because my husband makes the bed every morning and I'm eternally grateful to him for that. So he gets to reap all the benefits that everyone is talking about, which is great because honestly, making the bed isn't something that I enjoy doing in particular, and also it leaves me with more time to do other stuff such as making breakfast, for example. Speaking of which, where is one? There is no breakfast in the beginning of $1 billion morning routine and it makes me nervous. But I will talk about it a little bit later because now it is time for step number 3, which is to have a tall glass of water. I love this one. I totally agree that hydration is important and having a good glass of water right after waking up can be greatly beneficial. I do drink a lot of water every morning, so I'm on the same page with $1 billion morning routine here. Yay. But back to the breakfast thing. Where is it? He does mention that he has a smoothie, but it is way in the end of the whole routine and I can't go along with that. I'm not a nutritionist or a medical professional, but I do believe that having breakfast within an hour and a half after waking up plays an important role in how your body and hunger hormones function, so I don't skip breakfast and neither do I have it late. I know that there are plenty of people who will argue with me on that, but we all have a right to have our own opinion, and mine is that having breakfast soon after waking up is extremely important, and I stick to that. $1 billion morning routine or not, I will have my breakfast. Step number 4 is to have supplements. I passed on this one because I don't have supplements anymore. I stopped taking them last year when I went through a lot of information on nutrition and found out that their unsupervised intake can actually cause more damage than good. For example, certain minerals, if taken uncontrollably, can affect the amount of other minerals in one's body and hence cause disbalance. But again, I'm not a doctor, so take my words with a grain of salt and always consult a professional if you have any questions or concerns. I personally prefer to have healthy, diverse meals and receive all the vitamins and minerals my body needs from food rather than from pills. It doesn't mean that I believe that supplements are worthless. No, I believe that they can help a great deal to people who have certain deficiencies for one reason or another. I just think that they should be recommended or prescribed by a doctor. The $1 billion morning routine mentions taking probiotic, but again, I prefer to get it from food, such as sauerkraut, for example, rather than from pills. So I passed on this step as well for the reasons just described. The next step was breathing. I was actually excited for this one because I love box breathing. It actually helps me to bring myself in a state of calm, and I do notice that it has a relaxing effect on me. So I was super excited about this one because breathing is not a part of my regular morning routine, and I love to introduce new things to it. So I followed a guided box breathing video to get my body oxygenated and bring my mind in a state of calm. I felt great afterwards. I loved it. It is definitely something that I could and should do more often. The next step was meditation. I do meditate now and then, and sometimes I can do it for a couple of months on a regular basis. I don't really enjoy it, to be perfectly honest with you, mostly because it is really hard for me to make myself sit still and meditate, but I do notice that it helps me to calm down if I feel anxious or whatnot. But when I meditate, I do so for 10 to 15 minutes, and I prefer to follow a guided meditation, which are plenty on YouTube. So I found one for this routine. I felt happy when it was over, but I also felt its benefits that manifested in me feeling more grounded and calm. I do think that meditation is a great practice, and I hope that I will be able to hop on the meditation train yet again because it is greatly beneficial for body and mind. Next up was 1 to 2 minutes movement step, where I was supposed to do jumping jacks or burpees. That kind of stuff. I didn't really get it why I was supposed to start moving like crazy right after I got kind of grounded after my meditation and breathing practices, and after my nervous system entered a state of calm. Also, I had my breakfast not so long ago, and I didn't think it would feel nice to start jumping right now or do any other kind of workout, so I skipped this step with no regret. If I were to do it for the sake of waking my body up, I would probably move it towards the earlier part of my morning routine before I had breakfast. Honestly, at this moment, I don't really understand how these 1 to 2 minutes movement can actually benefit me, so I think I wouldn't do it anyway unless I would find a strong proof that it is backed by science or something. Now here comes the part when I went totally rebellious on this morning routine. The thing is that I have my own morning routine that I find very productive and I enjoy following it. If you are interested to learn more about my morning routine, I will link a video where I talk just about it in the description down below. But for now, I will just say that I work out an hour after my breakfast, and I dedicate this hour after my breakfast and before my workout to a hobby. Since today I spent half of this time breathing and meditating, I only had 30 minutes left, so I went ahead and proceeded with my hobby. I exercise on a daily basis, and a workout wasn't included in $1 billion morning routine, so I took a liberty to squeeze it in. The next step was to take a cold shower. I usually take a shower at noon, but I thought that I was rebellious enough with this routine, so I figured that the least I could do was to take a shower on time. And so I did. I didn't take a cold shower though, but I took a contrast one. I personally know more about benefits of a contrast shower rather than a cold one. Plus, a contrast shower feels much better. So I broke the rules once again. Oops. The next step was to make some tea and journal. I honestly hadn't had tea in the longest while, so I was definitely out of practice and out of tea for that matter. However, I found some tea bags in my cabinet. I would have much rather preferred to have some actual green tea leaves because it is rich in antioxidants, which is great, but oh well. I didn't have any green tea leaves, so I opted for a good old tea bag, alright. Once the tea was ready, I sat down to reflect and journal. I actually did some journaling last year and I was quite consistent with that, but eventually I fell out of practice because, we all only have that much time in our mornings. Can't do it all, can I? I was happy to resume my journaling practice today because I know by effect how beneficial it can be. It helps me to organize my thoughts, give them some structure, and it has a grounding effect on me. Next step was to write a to-do list. I actually make one the night before, but for the sake of the experiment, I decided to hold it off. In the video, he mentions that in his to-do list, he includes 3 things for work and 3 personal things, which I think is a great approach that allows one to feel productive by the end of the day and not majorly overwhelmed throughout it. I love to-do lists. I do think that they work by making one more productive and by navigating you closer and closer to your goal. So I loved this part of the $1 billion morning routine. Team to-do list here. Next, he also mentions that he writes a to feel and to be list, meaning that I had to write how I wanted to feel today and what I wanted to be. I do think that it is a great way to set the right intentions for a day as well as mindset, because I noticed that whenever I make up my mind to feel a certain way, it actually manifests. So yeah, I do think that writing a to feel and to be lists is a really great way to be conscious about what direction you want to navigate your day to day. The next step was to read. I actually had my reading session earlier in the morning as I had breakfast. I am currently reading Silmarillion by Tolkien. I love reading and I know how important it is to include it in one's daily routine. So cheers to reading. The next step was to make a smoothie. I personally do not care for smoothies, partly because I hate washing a blender afterwards and partly because I prefer to chew my food. I believe that in the video he makes his smoothie from avocado, blueberries, some leafy greens, and water. Those are all great ingredients and I do have them every day. I just prefer to have them solid rather than pureed into a smoothie. Also, I hate the way avocado tastes, and I had a pleasure to have a smoothie with avocado back in a day and it was horrible. I much rather prefer to have my avocado in a salad or on a toast when it's topped with something else. This way I can't taste avocado, but I get that wonderful creamy texture that I love. All in all, I prefer solid food over smoothies, so yeah. No thanks. The next step was brain training. I was actually really excited for that one, so I studied German via Duolingo. Learning a language is one of the best things to do if you want to flex your brain, I say. Love this step. I do teach myself German every day, and it is a regular part of my morning routine. The only thing is that I usually do it much earlier in the morning. So, what are my thoughts on $1 billion morning routine? First of all, I have to say that I'm a big fan of morning routines that make one more organized, productive, and efficient. And this one certainly does that. I believe that it is a strong, impactful routine that can inspire to implement new habits as well as to embark on a journey towards more productive and organized life. I, however, have a very well established morning routine that is tailored to my personal needs and preferences. And because of the specific reasons I outlined earlier, I didn't go through with some steps of $1 billion morning routine, or I changed their order. On the other hand, I found it great to use this routine in order to reintroduce some of the practices that I haven't been paying much attention to lately, such as meditation, breathing, and journaling, for example. I also started to entertain a thought to have green tea now and then for the sake of antioxidants. So all in all, I enjoyed following $1 billion morning routine, even though with some alternations. It was fun and refreshing. I personally think it is so much fun to watch other people's routines, see what productive habits they have, and try to implement the ones that I find useful into my life. If you guys want to see my own morning routine, it will be linked in the description down below for you to check out. With all that being said, let me know what you think of this video. And as always, make sure to like it and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this one. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.